Hello. Hi students. Welcome to this lecture. I hope I am audible to all of you. And let's quickly begin with this lecture. It's a very interesting lecture. And this is a lecture, I would say, not just restricted to your class 10th, but people from class 9th and other students preparing for any competitive exam, I would say, can very well utilize this lecture in generating knowledge and in learning about it. So this is one of the most famous questions, or one of the very interesting questions for the examiner, for the evaluator, and also a very interesting question in Indian politics. Okay, because here we are talking about nothing less than emergency powers of president, right? Emergency powers of president. Now, Bacha, let me go ahead and quickly, first of all, introduce myself to you, because that is very important. I want to quickly introduce to you, because then you'll get to know who I am and you can connect more with me. So, my name is Akansha. Okay, I'm your educator, and I have done my studies from JNU. I also did my graduation from Lady Shri Ram College, and I have taught at various universities and college level, and now I have mentored more than 20,000 students plus, right? So it's amazing that we are here. Let's get started with it. But the name emergency in itself shows a matter of great seriousness. So this topic is also a very very serious topic, in sense like when we talk about emergency, we are talking of something which is not good when it comes for the country. Okay, there are only certain situations in which emergency is proclaimed. Emergency name itself suggests, as you can see the name and the image here, because emergency लागू हुई थी इंडिया में 75 के अराउंड. तो आप देखते हैं कि emergency का situation का मतलब है that this situation or things are not normal in the country. Okay, they are not normal in the country, and that's why you need an additional support. You need emergency, right? Now let me tell you, move ahead and tell you why emergency hoti kya hai. Okay, now as you can see this attractive slide, state of emergency simply means bacha, when in a particular country there is a situation where the country cannot be carried on in normal circumstances, where there is a situation where there is a fear of war, external aggression, armed rebellion. पड़ोसी देश से war हो सकता है, within the country war हो सकता है, or there is also a situation when the finances of the country are going down. Okay, finances जो है country के वो down हो रहे हैं, अगर वैसी situation होती है, then we will say that it is a situation of emergency in India. Okay, correct. In if I speak about it, president plays a very very important role in emergency situation, because it is on him to actually decide and take the process ahead. We are going to talk about how that happens, but before that let me tell you, there are three types of emergency, as you can see. ठीक है, there are national emergency, there is a constitutional emergency जिसको हम president rule भी कहते हैं, and the third one is the financial emergency. Now national emergency we are seeing is the emergency which is happening when there is a fear of war from a state, a neighbor state or a state. Okay, there is a fear of armed rebellion, aggression. Okay, then the president can call for an emergency situation in the country. Now when we talk about constitutional emergency, the second emergency, as you can see, is the one bacha where we are seeing that a particular state in the country is not functioning well. Okay, it is not functioning well. Hello, 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 hello bacha, lot of hellos I'm getting. So if in a particular country, a particular state is not working well, okay, it is not working well, and what can be the reason? Let's say the police force is not working well, or there is a riot situation which has happened, or anything, the farmers are not doing well and there are suicides, or whatever is the condition, we are seeing the state is not running according to the constitution. In that situation bacha, it is called constitutional emergency. Now the third is the financial emergency. ये emergency वो हो गई बच्चा जिसके अंदर we are seeing that the country is having economic crisis or an economic depression. It does not have an economy which can survive its population. In that situation we call it's a financial emergency. Got it? Right. So these are the three emergencies which I am going to talk in detail to you about. Okay, but for now I have given you a brief that भाई emergency होती क्या है. अब हम बात करेंगे कि president का क्या role रहता है इसके अंदर. What is the role of president that is there in this? Before that, if you are a new student, you can easily subscribe to Unacademy. You are going to find lot of live classes, poll quiz, doubt solving, बहुत कुछ आपको मिलेगा. Okay, you just have to subscribe, download it from the Play Store. Okay, download it from the Play Store. Go to K12 section if you're a class 10, 9 student or whatever. Okay, go to get subscription and you can choose very limited amount of money they are charging and they're giving good quality of content. So you can simply choose bacha my referral code as AKS11. It is clearly written here AKS11. You can get additional 10% discount if you use this. So please go and subscribe in Academy and you can become a part of our everyday discussion, everyday lectures. Okay. Now, I've already told you how to do that. Let me start. Let me start. Okay, by discussing the emergency powers of the president. Now, students, this is very important. What are the emergency powers of president? But before that, I want to tell you that what is an emergency. We have discussed that. So in dire situation, when the president is feeling that there is a threat to the country, he is under complete authority to take a call on emergency. However, he is not the only one. He has to give it in right. The cabinet ministers along with the prime minister, they have to give it in writing and to the president that yes, the situation is so and emergency can be declared very well. Okay. Now the question emerges, bacha, that where are these provisions mentioned in the constitution? So the emergency provisions are contained, as you can see here, in the 18th part, as you can see here, in the 18th part of the constitution, and the articles which are dealing with it is article 352 to 360. These are the articles from 352 to 360 in the constitution that they are talking about emergency powers. Now, these are such powers that if in a particular country or in a state the emergency is declared, then the central government becomes all powerful. The central government becomes all powerful. They take all the charge of the state under their control. Okay, they take all the charge under their control. The idea behind taking the charge under their control is to protect the country's sovereignty, its unity, to maintain its integrity. Okay, so that the country doesn't fail, so that the country doesn't collapse, it is very important that the central government abide. Yes, it was in 1975. You are right, Bacha. So it is very important for the central government to take up all the control of the state जहाँ पे emergency लग रही है, क्योंकि एक तरीके की emergency state emergency भी होती है, right? Central government बहुत powerful हो जाती है. ये सारी चीजें कहाँ mention है? If you want to ask me this question, it is mentioned very well in the constitution. बच्चा, you can see from article 352 to 360 provides the reference or mention of such emergency powers. For new students who are coming in, please use my referral code AKS11 to join me on Unacademy. Now, let's talk about the first emergency. The first emergency, as you can see, bacha, is national emergency. पूरी country में जब emergency लगती है, अब ये क्यों होता है? I'll tell you. So this is the emergency which is declared on the basis of war, external aggression, आर्म्ड रिबेलियन. वॉर मतलब थ्रेट है कि भाई कोई आपका पड़ोसी देश या कोई देश आपके ऊपर हमला बोलने वाला है. एक्सटर्नल एग्रेशन, बाहर का कोई डर, बाहर का कोई कंट्री अटैक करेगा, या आर्म्ड रिबेलियन. ओके, इंटरनली ऑल्सो हो सकता है रिबेलियन. ओके, अंदर भी रिबेलियन हो सकता है. विद इन द कंट्री फाइट्स कैन हैपन. ऑन बेसिस ऑफ दैट ऑल्सो यू कैन प्रोक्लेम एन इमरजेंसी. So the grounds of emergency on which basis it can be proclaimed is, ये चीज मेंशन है आर्टिकल 352 में. द नेशनल इमरजेंसी इज मेंशन इन आर्टिकल 350, यस, इन द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन. सो द प्रेसिडेंट कैन डिक्लेयर अ नेशनल इमरजेंसी. अथॉरिटी किसकी है एट द एंड ऑफ द डे? प्रेसिडेंट. ये बात याद रखना, दिस कैन बी 1 mark क्वेश्चन. So the president can actually declare a national emergency when he feels. जरूरी नहीं है कि वॉर हुआ हो तभी नेशनल इमरजेंसी डिक्लेयर हुई हो. If he feels from his gut and if he is confident that an emergency can be declared, okay, if there is a threat, if there is a threat of war, अगर डर है कि war हो सकता है, उस डर के basis, उस बुनियाद पे भी इमरजेंसी डिक्लेयर की जा सकती है बाय द प्रेसिडेंट, है ना। सेकंड पॉइंट जैसे मैंने लिखा है कि इवन बिफोर द एक्चुअल वॉर, असली का वॉर हो उससे पहले भी आप इमरजेंसी डिक्लेयर कर सकते हो। Now, when an emergency is declared on the basis of war, external liberation और armed rebellion, उस चीज को हम नेशनल इमरजेंसी कहते हैं, उसको हम इंटरनल इमरजेंसी भी कह सकते हैं। आर्म रिबेलियन को अब बोला जाता है इंटरनल इमरजेंसी। ये जो वर्ड है आर्म रिबेलियन, ये इंसर्ट हुआ था, मतलब कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में चेंज आया था, बदलाव आया था, उस चेंज को हम कहते हैं 44th अमेंडमेंट। इस अमेंडमेंट के बाद द टर्म आर्म रिबेलियन हैज बीन इंसर्टेड इन द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन। इससे पहले जो वर्ड यूज होता था इमरजेंसी के लिए, उसको इंटरनल डिस्टर्बेंस कहते थे। अब आर्म रिबेलियन कुछ भी हो सकता है बच्चा। आर्म रिबेलियन कैन बी riots, naxal issue in the country, or fights in the states about anything. Anything which is including armed revolution kind of a thing can come under armed rebellion. So this is the first type of emergency that we have seen, bacha. Yes, yes. Okay, that is a part of emergency that we are seeing. Is it clear? Great. Now we are moving to what happens after this. If an emergency is proclaimed, yes, Kamal, I did. If an emergency is proclaimed, what happens? Where is the president coming into the picture? I'll tell you. So the president is the one who has this power. He has lot of power. He has diplomatic, military, executive, legislative, lot of power. But out of them, he has one power which is called emergency power। और इसमें इसका सिंपल सा मतलब ये है कि भैया प्रेसिडेंट के ऊपर है, उसके कंधों के ऊपर है टू डिक्लेयर इमरजेंसी। द प्रेसिडेंट एक्सरसाइजेस इमरजेंसी पावर इन ऑल द थ्री कैटेगरीज। नेशनल इमरजेंसी डिक्लेयर करनी हो, स्टेट करनी हो, या फाइनेंशियल इमरजेंसी डिक्लेयर करनी हो, सिर्फ जो प्रेसिडेंट होता है वही डिक्लेयर कर सकता है। कल को उठ के प्राइम मिनिस्टर डिक्लेयर नहीं कर सकता। इसलिए जब 1975 में इमरजेंसी डिक्लेयर हुई थी तो इंदिरा गांधी जो कि प्राइम मिनिस्टर थी, खुद से ही she took the decision of declaring the emergency without discussing the president, and that is the problem बच्चों। if an emergency is declared by the prime minister, ये हमारे कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन के खिलाफ है, ये उसके अगेंस्ट है, ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए था, बट ऐसा हुआ, अनफॉर्चुनेटली ऐसा हुआ, and that became a problem, and it was later on criticized also a lot by people that it's a very undemocratic way of doing things. The prime minister cannot declare an emergency. It is the responsibility of the president to declare the emergency. Got it, great. Now I will give you the example of certain situations. Yes, Kamal, I did recognize you. I will give you the example of certain national emergency. For example, if India and Pakistan openly accept that they are going to use armed forces against each other, then you can declare a national emergency, because they are saying that they are going into armed fight or armed rebellion. Then you can actually use the emergency. If there is no formal declaration that there will be armed forces used against a country, it is known as external aggression. अगर कोई डिक्लेरेशन नहीं है, जैसे ऊपर वाले एग्जाम्पल में मैंने आपको बोल दिया कि इंडिया पाकिस्तान कह रहा है कि अब हम फाइट करेंगे, इन्होंने डिक्लेयर कर दिया है, तो वो तो हो गया वॉर सिचुएशन। एक्सटर्नल अग्रेशन क्या हो गया कि अगर कोई फॉर्मल डिक्लेरेशन नहीं कर रहा that they are going to do armed forces, but फिर भी युद्ध करता है, फिर भी फोर्सेस यूज करता है, then it is called external aggression, because ये वॉर नहीं है, aggressive behavior है, it is called aggression. And if because of these two ground emergency is declared in the country, that becomes the national emergency or external emergency. Got it बच्चा? Now emergency आपको समझ आ गया कि भाई क्यों डिक्लेयर हो रही है नेशन के अंदर. We have understood that. We have also taken examples to understand that why this is happening. Now I want to tell you बच्चा, I want to tell you very clearly that what happens, what is the procedure of actually declaring it. What is the procedure? The parliament actually has to take the initiative. The parliament has to approve, both the houses of the parliament including the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha, they have to approve within 1 month from the date of issue. एक महीने के अंदर उनको ये अप्रूव करना होता है इमरजेंसी. ओके, जब से ये लगाई गई है इमरजेंसी, उसके 1 मंथ के अंदर उनको अप्रूव करना होता है अगर इसको कंटिन्यू करना है. If the proclamation of emergency is issued at the time, अगर ऐसे टाइम पे इमरजेंसी होती है जब लोकसभा सेशन में ही नहीं है, क्योंकि हमेशा सेशन में नहीं रहती, लोकसभा डिसॉल्व हो गई है, ओके, तो उस टाइम पे क्या होता है, 1 महीने तक इमरजेंसी चल सकती है विदाउट अप्रूविंग, बट जैसे ही लोकसभा वापस आती है उसके 30 डेज के अंदर उसको अप्रूव करना होता है इमरजेंसी को, देन ओनली द द इमरजेंसी कैन कंटिन्यू। तो 1 साल में लगने के बाद या 6 महीने लगने के बाद उसको कंटिन्यूस अप्रूवल की जरूरत होती है व्हेन इट कम्स टू continuation of emergency, and this task, as I am telling you, is done by none other than the parliament, and both the houses, by the way, let me be very clear, both the houses are involved, the Lok Sabha as well as the Rajya Sabha, both are involved in approval and continuation the duration of the parliament, सिर्फ एक का मर्जी नहीं चलेगा। Is it clear? Now we have discussed how the emergency is proclaimed, प्रेसिडेंट का पावर भी डिस्कस कर लिया। अब बात करते हैं कि अगर इसको हटाना है, रेवोकेशन करनी है, अगर यू हैव टू रिमूव दिस काइंड ऑफ इमरजेंसी, व्हाट इट हैज टू बी, this can be removed by the president, again the power of president becomes important। now this can be easily revoked by the president at any time, किसी भी वक्त इसको रिवोक किया जा सकता है by a proclamation। What is this proclamation? Is an order. That order does not require parliamentary approval. This here comes actually one of the important power, I would say, of the president. Okay, the president can actually revoke. He can revoke the emergency. उस चीज के लिए उसको पार्लियामेंट की सहमति या पार्लियामेंट की सिग्नेचर लेने की जरूरत नहीं है। The emergency must be revoked if the Lok Sabha passes a resolution by a simple majority, disapproving its continuation। अगर लोकसभा ने कह दिया कि भाई हम ये रेजोल्यूशन पास कर रहे हैं और यू हैव टू रिमूव दिस पर्टिकुलर इमरजेंसी, देन एंड देयर इट हैज टू बी डिसअप्रूव्ड or it has to be discontinued, then and there the president can remove or revoke the emergency। So you are clear that president is in a position after Lok Sabha to actually revoke the emergency। but if you want to continue the emergency, I have told you it is the proclamation or it is the decision making of the parliament। very important 1 mark question that you should remember। नए बच्चे हमारे आ गए हैं बच्चा, I just want to tell you by referral code AKS11, please go and subscribe to Unacademy, go and we can continuously have more of lectures at plus। so AKS11 is the code, please don't forget to use it and subscribe it today itself। now I want to discuss with you बच्चा what happens if there is an emergency। मैंने अभी तुम्हें 1975 का एग्जाम्पल दिया, तब तक ना मैं थी ना तुम थे, बट हमने किताबों में पढ़ा है। 1975 के अंदर जब इंदिरा गांधी के टाइम पे इमरजेंसी लगी थी बच्चा, तो बहुत सारे राइट्स जो होते हैं, फंडामेंटल राइट्स लोगों के, वो सस्पेंड हो जाते हैं। ओके, और जो सारी पावर है वो सेंटर के हाथ में आ जाती है। द सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट बिकम्स ऑल पावरफुल व्हेनेवर देयर इज एन इमरजेंसी। प्राइमरली स्पीकिंग, जो अपना पार्लियामेंट है उसके ऊपर उसके पास सारी पावर आ जाती है, तो सारे स्टेट्स की जो लेजिस्लेटिव मेकिंग पावर है, डिसीजन मेकिंग पावर है, दैट कम्स टू द parliament। So parliament becomes the head or the boss, you can say, during the time of emergency। First, so as I've written, what are the changes that you see when the emergency happened? What is the effect of that emergency on the center state relation? Center और state के relation में क्या changes आते हैं? Okay, first, if I talk about executive changes, now here I have already told you that the center is becoming all powerful। It is giving directions to the governor, it is giving directions to council of ministers, और इनको तो आप हटा ही देते हो। Center is giving directions, you can say, to the governor, to the other bodies, to actually carry on the administration in the state। Second, the parliament legislature change क्या है? What is the legislature change that you are seeing, बच्चा? We are seeing that the parliament becomes all powerful। I have already told you, they become all powerful and they make law on subjects mentioned in the state list। now if you have attended lectures of mine, or if you have seen, like, there are 3 lists, there are union list, state list and concurrent list। it state list has subjects in which the state government can make law, but emergency के time पे क्या होता है, सुनो, इमरजेंसी के टाइम पे स्टेट लिस्ट के अंदर जो भी सब्जेक्ट्स हैं, जो भी सब्जेक्ट्स प्रेजेंट है स्टेट लिस्ट के अंदर, उन सब पे कौन लॉ बना सकता है भाई? उन सब पे लॉ बनाने का काम हो जाता है none other than the parliament। the parliament is making law on all of that, you should remember। got it? स्टेट लिस्ट में जो सब्जेक्ट है उस पे भी किसका अधिकार है? पार्लियामेंट का। तो तुम देख लो, पार्लियामेंट बिकम्स ऑल पावरफुल। now the next point I want to tell you that the laws are made on the state subject by the parliament during the emergency, they become inoperative 6 महीने बाद after the emergency has stopped. अगर 6 महीने बाद let's say आज emergency खत्म हुई और law बनाए parliament ने state list पे, 6 महीने बाद वो automatically जो होगा वो laws जो हो जाएंगे वो inoperative हो जाएंगे, क्योंकि 6 महीने तक की ही वैधता या वैलिडिटी होती है जब तक वो law operative रहते हैं. This is another 1 mark question that you should remember, बच्चा. Now, what is the financial situation? What happened when it comes to the finances? Now, this is the time during the time of national emergency, actually, that we are seeing the president. As I told you, I'm talking about its power. He plays an important role again. So, the president here can modify the constitutional distribution of revenue. He can decide what much revenue should be given to from the center to the state. How much revenue actually is required or needed by the state? Do they need extra revenue? Do they need any type of extra benefit or extra security because of this emergency, or they need less of it? Whatever is the cause, the president actually takes it up. The president takes it up and he modifies the kind of relations that are financial relations that are existing between the center and the state. Is it clear? Okay, now we are talking about this section. I think is clear to you. Now what happens, bacha? Under the article 359, the president has been given the power by the constitution. It's very important and you should know. Under article 359, the president has been given power by the constitution to suspend, by writing an order, by an order, the president can actually suspend the right to move to any court. देखो, जब आपके fundamental rights लिए जाते हैं, जो कि national emergency के time पे all your fundamental rights are taken away from you, तो 359 जो है वो guarantee करता है president को that they can also take away your right to move to the court. In normal circumstances, अगर आपके fundamental rights लिए जाए, आपसे छीने जाए, what will you do? You will move to the court. But during the time of emergency, you cannot move to the court. So according to Article 359, the president के पास इतनी अधिकार है that it can take away your right to move to the court in case of any fundamental right. You cannot move to a court. After emergency ends, of course, you can move to a court. There is no problem. Correct? That much power is there with the president. So this is another important power that we have discussed of the president. So the remedial measures are suspended. The measures that you can move to a court or suspended, but not all fundamental rights are suspended. I hope this is clear to you. Next. Now, we have studied the first type of emergency, which is the national emergency. I have told you what it is, what is the role of president, कितने टाइम तक वो चल सकता है, रिवोक कैसे करता है president, ये सारी चीजें हम पढ़ चुके हैं when it comes to national emergency and on what situation actually national emergency लगाई जाती है. क्या एक्सटर्नल एग्रेशन बताया तुमको मैंने, वॉर बताया, दोनों सिचुएशन समझाइए इन विच एक्सटर्नल emergency can be actually proclaimed. Now the second type of emergency I want to talk about, bacha, is the president rule. That is the second type of emergency I want to talk about. The article is 356 and 352. 356 and 355. These are the two articles that you are saying. Okay, so what is happening? What is happening? We are seeing that president rule when is proclaimed, it's a very dangerous kind of emergency, because I'll tell you what is the twist in it. Okay, whatever I'm saying is that if the president decides on its own or through a particular governor of a particular state that the situation in the state is such that it cannot be carried on in the normal circumstances, it cannot be carried on because of riots, because of famine, because of epidemic, because of constitutional failure, whatever is the condition, if the governor of the state is decided, even if the president of the country feels that a particular state cannot run according to the normal circumstances, then in such situation president rule can be proclaimed. बहुत सारे states हैं, पंजाब, केरला, राजस्थान, हरियाणा, यूपी, बिहार, बहुत सारे states में president rule लग चुका है. Okay, so the ground of imposition is the president has to be very clear that why this rule is being proclaimed. क्यों इस rule को लगाया जा रहा है? He has to be very clear. Okay, if he is clear, because I've told you that the machinery in the state has stopped functioning, either the government has become corrupt or the administration is not working according to the norms of the constitution, then a president rule is proclaimed, bacha. Okay, either the governor gives in writing to the president that a president rule is required, or the president, if feeling himself, can also put a president rule on a particular state. The article which is empowering the president to issue such a rule is known as Article 356. Now, this is a most misused article in India, bacha. A very, very misused article. Why? I'll tell you. अगर कोई state है, let's say Maharashtra, and there is a center government. Okay, now center government, let's say, is a government of some party, and state government में जो महाराष्ट्र में जो गवर्नमेंट है वो स्टेट पार्टी कोई दूसरी पार्टी है, ऑपोजिशन पार्टी की सरकार है, ठीक है, एक जगह बीजेपी एक जगह कांग्रेस है, जस्ट एग्जांपल. What happens, whoever party is in the center will try removing the state party, क्योंकि उसकी opposition party बैठी है state में, it will try removing just for the sake of it, without any reason. They will try to remove the government, opposition government in the state. This has been the practice in 80s when Indira Gandhi was in power. This has also been the practice in 80s and 90s, early 90s. Till the time Bombay High Court said in 1993 that do not misuse the Article 356. They clearly said do not misuse the Article 356, do not misuse the President rule. And because of this, bacha, we are saying that President rule ka misuse hona band hua. But only it should be used in the case when you feel that there is really a need, there is actually a need to proclaim president rule. In those situations and condition only it should be put. I hope this is clear. Article 365 जो clearly कहता है, वो कहता है कि whenever a state is failing to comply the center or is failing to follow the constitution, failing to failing to like the constitution or abide by the constitution, in that situation, bacha, president can stand up and say, oh, now I have to put the president rule. Is it clear, Dilip and other students? Please use my referral code AKS11, note कर लो और आज ही सब्सक्राइब कर लो, जाके Unacademy डाउनलोड करो, मेरा रेफरल कोड AKS11 यूज करो आज ही, and you can keep attending my lectures every day. Get us great, Saif. Go and download and become my plus student if you want to attend my lectures every day, which is a lot of fun. Okay, now we have talked about what is precedent rule, correct? Now we will talk about भाई ये कब तक चलता है और ये चलता कैसे. अगर किसी स्टेट में प्रेसिडेंट रूल लागू हो गया, थैंक यू दिलीप, देन इम्पेशेंट डियर कह रहे हैं मुझे, यस मैम, आई होप इम्पेशेंट डियर यू विल डाउनलोड इट टुडे एंड यूज माय कूपन कोड AKS11, तुमको 10% एडिशनल डिस्काउंट मिलेगा बच्चा. पार्लियामेंट जो है, अगर प्रेसिडेंट रूल लागू हुआ किसी स्टेट के अंदर, तो पार्लियामेंट को उसको अप्रूव करना पड़ता है. बोथ द हाउसेस, द लोकसभा एंड राज्यसभा, नीड टू अप्रूव दैट विद इन 2 months. 2 महीने के अंदर, आज इमरजेंसी लगी तो 2 महीने के अंदर अंदर उसको अप्रूव करना पड़ता है पार्लियामेंट को. ओके, अदरवाइज वो इनवैलिड हो जाता है. However, if the proclamation is issued, अगर ऐसे टाइम पे इमरजेंसी लगी है जब लोकसभा डिसॉल्व हो गई है या लोकसभा इज नॉट इन सेशन, देन व्हेन लोकसभा रिटर्न्स, उसके 30 डेज के अंदर उसको वो अप्रूव करना पड़ता है. सो दैट्स, और इसके बीच में राज्यसभा उसको अप्रूव कर सकती है. So there are very strict laws, बच्चा, on the basis of which proclamation emergency can be continued. The importance of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha in approving the duration. In approving the duration, पहले 6 महीने के लगता है, फिर आप इसको कितना एक्सटेंड कर सकते हो, 3 साल तक एक्सटेंड हो सकता है. तो आपको 6 महीने में, आपको ये हर 6 महीने में अप्रूव करना ही पड़ेगा. Got it? Please go and subscribe today to Unacademy, bacha, and use my code for additional 10% discount. सैफ पूछ रहा है मैम आपका रेफरल कोड, बच्चा AKS11, you can see on the screen here right away, AKS11, all in caps letter, 10% discount. Got it, Saif? Janaki? Got it, bacha? Now that you have asked, I have told you it's AKS11, Saif. Yes, Saif, correct. सब्सक्राइब इट टुडे इटसेल्फ, यूज माय कोड, ग्रेट, 10% एडिशनल डिस्काउंट मिलेगा तुमको। चलो जी, अब बात करते हैं कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस क्या होते हैं प्रेसिडेंट रूल के। कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस, क्या कॉन्सिक्वेंस है, क्या होगा, प्रेसिडेंट रूल लग जाएगा, ओ माय गॉड, इट इज वेरी वेरी not healthy. That's why I told you that Bombay High Court in 1993 clearly said that enough. You cannot keep putting precedent rule. This is the most misused article of our constitution. The impatient dear is saying how to like SST. Keep attending my lectures. Join my plus course. I can assure you and guarantee you, you will not only like, you can score 80 out of 80 also. Hello, Rahul. I can assure you that. But for that, you have to become my plus student. तो आ जाओ जल्दी से, मेरा कोड यूज कर लो, AKS11 impatient dear, और तुम्हें इंटरेस्टिंग लगाएंगे SST. Now, what is the consequence of president rule? You know, president imposes, acquires बहुत सारे extra powers when it comes to president rule. वो क्या करता है, सारा फंक्शन जो होता है ना स्टेट का, वो खुद के अंदर ले लेता है. He becomes the कर्ता धर्ता. और प्रेसिडेंट के अंदर, प्रेसिडेंट कहता है कि आई एम टेकिंग ऑल द कंट्रोल, बट एक्चुअली इट इज द पार्लियामेंट व्हिच इज टेकिंग ऑल द कंट्रोल. गॉट इट? इट इज द पार्लियामेंट व्हिच इज टेकिंग ऑल द कंट्रोल. स्टेट लेजिस्लेचर डिसॉल्व हो जाता है उस स्टेट का, सिर्फ गवर्नर बचता है. तो गवर्नर किसके कहने पे चलता है? प्रेसिडेंट के कहने पे चलता है. प्रेसिडेंट किसके कहने पे चलता है? प्राइम मिनिस्टर एंड काउंसिल ऑफ मिनिस्टर. ऑलवेज रिमेंबर दिस बच्चा. ओके, so he the president becomes all powerful. president बोल सकते हैं, या parliament becomes all powerful, and सारे steps वो लेता है ताकि जो constitutional imbalance हुआ है उस particular state में, उसको वो restore कर सके. but it's a very very dangerous thing. तो every time इसको नहीं लगाना चाहिए, सिर्फ कभी कभार जब जरूरत पड़ती है, जब state के अंदर सच में conditions बहुत worse हो गए हैं because of a famine, और no Rahul, I have not. You should keep attending my lectures so that I remember you more, Rahul. So you become my plus member, bacha, and then I can have a frequent contact with you, and I can discuss and resolve your doubts. So बच्चा, प्रेसिडेंट रूल हमको समझ आ गया कि भाई ये मिसयूज आर्टिकल है, बट इसको मिसयूज नहीं करना चाहिए. अगर कोई स्टेट में कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन मशीनरी ठीक से काम नहीं कर रही, देन ओनली अ प्रेसिडेंट रूल इज प्लेस्ड. All of you know my coupon, my referral code. It's right here, AKS11. जो भी मुझसे पूछ रहे हैं, AKS11, प्लीज आज ही डाउनलोड करो, सब्सक्राइब करो अनअकैडमी पे, एंड बिकम माय प्लस स्टूडेंट्स फॉर डेली इंटरेक्शन एंड मोर इंटरेस्टिंग लेक्चर्स. एडिशनल 10% डिस्काउंट तभी मिलेगा जब तुम ये कूपन कोड यूज करोगे, AKS11, as you can see here. Great. Now let's talk about the third kind of emergency. Bacha, this is a very कहना चाहिए very very crucial and very important kind of emergency. Okay, so what we are doing is here, sorry, what we are trying to do here is, bacha, that we are trying to understand if the finances of a particular country fails. अभी देखो इकोनॉमी जो है वो माइनस में चल रही है हमारी कंट्री में. जस्ट गिविंग एग्जांपल, आई एम नॉट सेइंग इट्स इमरजेंसी. Because of corona or things like that, the economy is not doing well. If it is a constant struggle, if it is there for a very very constant time period, okay, in that time there is a financial instability which is created. Their economy is going to the drains, there is instability, lot of people are losing job, there is continuous poverty, there is no money in circulation. ऐसी जब सिचुएशन हो जाती है तो कंट्री को फाइनेंशियल इमरजेंसी डिक्लेयर करना पड़ता है. Okay, Rahul, for that I can't send it here, bacha. You have to, only plus students are getting those papers and those discussions. I'm sorry, but you have to get on there to get it. Okay, um, because this can't be shared here. Okay, so bacha, I can do certain quiz of course for you guys, but it will be great if you become a plus student. आपको बहुत advantages मिलते हैं, आप live classes कर सकते हैं मेरे साथ. You can do sample papers, you can do important questions. I prepare you for exam. Lot of advantage of joining me on plus. So today only subscribe, Rahul and others who want this. Okay. Now, financial emergency की हम बात कर रहे हैं. The first point is when the country is not doing economically well, when there is an instability in the country, when the economy is becoming negative, when there is a continuous threat that the credit of the country is growing down. Okay, there is a lot of unemployment that is being created. When you know that there is a lot of poverty that is being created, अगर ये सब होता है, then this is a situation of worry. Then this is the situation. Dilip, you might watch the video again. Okay. then this is a situation of worry bacha. Okay, now that's what I'm trying to say. This article is mentioned in the constitution, which is called article 360. ये जो आर्टिकल है ये मेंशन करता है दैट इंडिया, इफ देयर इज अ फाइनेंशियल क्राइसिस और सिचुएशन, you can easily go and the president can declare a financial emergency. I hope this is clear to you, bacha. Very crystal clear I have explained. Great. Now, in what situation the parliament approves it? Please remember, a proclamation declaring, order निकलता है फाइनेंशियल इमरजेंसी का, बट वो अप्रूव होना चाहिए. अप्रूवल ऑफ इमरजेंसी इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट इन ऑल द थ्री इमरजेंसी, बी इट नेशनल इमरजेंसी, स्टेट और फाइनेंशियल. ये दिमाग में बिठा लो, भूलना मत. 1 मार्क क्वेश्चन में आ सकता है, चाहे वो नेशनल हो, स्टेट हो या फाइनेंशियल हो. Any of the emergency, if it is there, it should be approved by both the houses of the parliament. Very, very important for you. Got it? Great, great. Now, if the proclamation of emergency, अभी वो सेम चीज है जो हमने पहले भी पढ़ी. अगर सपोज करो ऐसे टाइम पे इमरजेंसी लगाई जब लोकसभा है नहीं, तो कौन अप्रूव करेगा? जैसे ही लोकसभा वापस आती है सेशन के अंदर, 30 डेज के अंदर उसको अपना फर्स्ट सिटिंग के अंदर ही एक्चुअली लोकसभा को उसको अप्रूव कर देना है, और इसके बीच में राज्यसभा उसको अप्रूव कर सकती है. बट राज्यसभा एंड लोकसभा दोनों का अप्रूवल लगता है. दोनों का अप्रूवल बच्चा बहुत जरूरी है व्हेन इट कम्स टू the financial emergency or any kind of emergency rather than just financial, I would say. In terms of national emergency भी मैंने तुम्हें सेम बताया कि भाई प्रोवोकेशन तब होगा, रिवोकेशन अपना प्रेसिडेंट कर सकता है, उसको हटा सकता है इमरजेंसी को. बट अगर उस इमरजेंसी को कंटिन्यू करना है, उस इमरजेंसी की कंटिन्यूसली ड्यूरेशन बढ़ानी है, सपोज करो सिचुएशन ऐसी है कंट्री के अंदर that the stability is not improving for a very long time period, for 1 year or whatever, the situation is not improved. In that situation the president wants कि भाई continuously emergency लगी रहनी चाहिए. So उस situation के अंदर बच्चा क्या कर सकते हैं? उस situation के अंदर what is required, that you should actually keep continuing the emergency. But who can approve and continue it? It is the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha bachcha who can do it. Dileep, ma'am, I respect your order. Dileep. Yes, bacha, if you want additional information, I will be glad to give you more additional information. But bacha, that has to, एक lecture में वो इसमें possible नहीं होगा, तुम्हें भी पता है, तुम समझते हो. You have to come to my plus courses. For that, you have to subscribe. मैं clearly बोल रही हूँ. Exams आ रहे हैं तो उससे पहले it can be very beneficial. मेरा रेफरल कोड यूज करना मत भूलना, AKS11, तभी तुम्हें 10% का एडिशनल डिस्काउंट मिलेगा. Got it? Now we have talked about financial emergency. Once it is approved by both the houses, लग जाती है भैया financial emergency. President is the one who is declaring, be it any type of emergency, national, state or financial. कौन declare कर रहा है भाई? The president. Got it? Is it clear? Now let's move. What are the effects of financial emergency? A very, very important topic. What are the effects of financial emergency? होता क्या है भाई? सबसे पहले तो सैलरी कट होती है. So most of the government officials, also the government officials at the higher rank like Supreme Court judge, High Court judge, government officials in power plants and atomic energies, okay, union and state government officials, उन लोग की सैलरी कट होना शुरू होती है. कट होना मतलब they have to get that deducted for the nation. पहली चीज. दूसरी चीज जो होता है, जो एग्जीक्यूटिव अथॉरिटी होती है, जो सेंटर की अथॉरिटी, यूनियन की अथॉरिटी है, वो अप्लाई करती है सारे स्टेट्स पे. तो सेंटर इज बिकमिंग अगेन वेरी वेरी पावरफुल. देखो जब भी इमरजेंसी है, आंख बंद करके तुम्हें याद रखना होगा दैट सेंटर बिकम्स वेरी पावरफुल इन इमरजेंसी, बी इट एनी काइंड ऑफ इमरजेंसी. ओके, गुड इवनिंग मनीष. नए बच्चे जो आए हैं जल्दी से सब्सक्राइब कर लो भाई, ताकि यू कीप अटेंडिंग माय लेक्चर्स. सब्सक्राइब टू अनअकैडमी, यूज माय कोड. बार बार नहीं बता रही हूँ, AKS11. ठीक है, ओके. अब पहला चीज, सेंटर इज बिकमिंग ऑल पावरफुल और उसने स्टेट्स के फाइनेंसेस को कंट्रोल करना चालू कर दिया है. ओके, कितना खर्चा होना चाहिए स्टेट को, हाउ मच अमाउंट शुड बी गिवन ड्यूरिंग द टाइम ऑफ इमरजेंसी, व्हाट इज द बैलेंस ऑफ फंड टू बी अलोकेटेड टू द स्टेट. एवरी कंट्रोल इज टेकन बाय द सेंटर बच्चा. सेकेंड, मैंने पहले ही बता दिया, रिडक्शन ऑफ सैलरीज एंड अलाउंसेस. जो हमारे सरकारी ऑफिशियल्स हैं, प्राइवेट सेक्टर की तो नहीं बोल सकती, but जो private sector में you lose lot of jobs. Like for example in corona time also, it is not a situation of emergency, but because the economy is suffering, you see the companies are not doing benefit. तो हम बोल सकते हैं that their jobs are going. Okay, so lot of unemployment is getting created. Now coming back to the financial emergency, we are seeing, sorry, that lot of salaries and allowances. If some people were getting certain allowances, now what are allowances? These are something which are other than the salary the government officials or the state officials, centers officials get as a bonus or whatever. Those are also cut during the time of emergency first of all, and you cannot question. आप क्वेश्चन नहीं कर सकते हो कि क्यों काट दिया भाई, अलाउंस क्यों काटा, नहीं. This is there mentioned in the constitution. According to article 360, the government is liable and you cannot question when they reduce your salaries and allowances. Then the discussion on money bills or other financial bills is always kept for precedent after they are passed by the legislature. If the state is passing something that they need this much of money or whatever it is a transaction, it has to be considered. They have to keep the bill for the president. The president has to go through the bill what has been sanctioned. So it is very, very important. Got it? Right? Reservation of all the bills. Now this is done primarily to keep a track of how much money is being used or how much things are getting utilized, I would say, when it comes to financial situations, क्योंकि उस टाइम पे बहुत सोच समझ के पैसे का यूटिलाइजेशन करना होता है. That's why all the bills, I tell you, this is 1 mark question, even 3 marks, I would say, that the reservation of bills for the president generally nahi hota hai, but reservation of bills for the president is kept as a primary concern for the during the time of emergency. Got it? Financial emergency. Then there are directions from the president. There are continuous directions from the president for the reduction of salary and allowances of all classes. So this I have already told you that the president is the final authority. He is in the final authority to actually discuss and say that how much reduction होना चाहिए, कितना reduction होगा, कब तक होगा, ठीक है, जो रिडक्शन हुआ है वो वापस आएगा कि नहीं. On all those things, the final authority to take a call or direction is the president. He is in charge and he decides that till how long and what should be the reduction pattern like. So I hope this is clear, and I have told you that all the supreme higher officials also, उनकी भी salary काटी जाती है, ऐसा नहीं है नहीं काटी जाती. So you see the Supreme Court judges, high courts, all of them salary gets cut. So that severe is the financial emergency. Now bacha, let me just draw a recap for you. Let me draw a recap for you. What I'm saying is what we have covered in this lecture. Let me tell you very, very briefly so that it is crystal clear in your head. First of all, I tell you there is a situation of emergency. Now, what is an emergency? When in a particular country you are seeing that situations are not normal. If there is a threat of war, external aggression, armed rebellion, there is a threat that a particular state in the country is not functioning according to the constitution. Or third, if there is a threat that the finances of the country are not going well. In all these three situations, emergency can be proclaimed. The first situation, because of a threat of war and external aggression, is known as national emergency, जो मैंने समझाया आपको. The second is there is a threat that a particular state, कोई भी state, because of riots, violence, is not working according to the provisions of the constitution, then a constitutional emergency or a precedent rule can be proclaimed. This is again very, very important. And the third is bacha, if you feel that a particular in a country the finances are going to the drain, okay, there are finances in the country are going to the drain, okay, in that situation also the president can actually call for a financial emergency. In that situation, the effect is decided by the president. He gives the direction how much money has to go to the state. All the bills for the state related to money are checked by the president or a reserve for the president. There is a reduction also. Good evening, Abhijit. जो मेरे नए बच्चे join कर रहे हैं, please use my coupon code AKS11 and subscribe today itself for more interesting lectures and important lectures for your boards. So you can use this coupon code AKS11 and get 10 additional discount, 10%. Okay, note it down today and download and subscribe today only. In fact, download the app from Play Store. जो भी मेरे नए बच्चे join किए. Okay, I'm good, thank you. Now, bacha, now what is happening? I'm telling you that in financial emergency, the reduction in salaries is also happening, and you cannot question it because this is okay, Abhijit. Okay, great. But you can also subscribe to this if you want. Okay. Uh, Right. So this is something which is clear for class 10th, I'm telling you, and in general also if you want to have, because we have a lot of live classes. As you can see, I'm mentioning it here. We have a lot of creative corner also now we have taken. Okay, a lot of creative corner we have taken. If you want to tell it to your friends or your, siblings, they can join a lot of creative things we are doing. Okay, for creative corner you can use my referral code AKS11. You can distribute this code to your friends and siblings, because in an academy we are giving iconic plans, we are giving academics, we are also giving you music, Vedic maths, coding, all of this, right? So we are giving you a lot of interesting things. So please, you can subscribe and download the app today. Join us, become a plus members, and you can send your coupon code. You can use, sorry, your coupon code, my coupon code AKS11, as I have mentioned it here, to get additional 10% discount. If you are already the member, you can send it to your sibling. They can use this code AKS11 so that you also get additional 10% faida. Great. After this, bacha, we are, as I've already told you, creative corner is something new that we have started. Okay, and I think this is very interesting because we have started from 17th of October. We are doing Vedic maths, public speaking, magic tricks, poetry, storytelling, debating. Lots and lots of interesting things are going to happen in creative corner. तो आज ही जाओ और मैम का कूपन कोड यूज करो, जो कि है AKS11, और आज ही सब्सक्राइब कर लो क्रिएटिव कॉर्नर में, या फिर तुम K10 सेक्शन के लिए भी सब्सक्राइब कर सकते हो, क्लास 10 के लिए, जो भी तुम्हें चाहिए, बिकॉज वी हैव वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग लाइव सेशंस, डाउट सॉल्विंग. कुछ बच्चे सैम्पल पेपर पूछ रहे थे, तो आई टोल्ड देम we are doing a lot of sample papers and board preparation in my plus classes. For that you have to come with me, you have to join me, and for that you have to use my coupon code. Okay, some students are asking link bhejo. Bacha, link, I don't know what you are talking about. It's simply the code AKS11. It's simply the code. There is no link for it. Note kar sakte ho. Okay, so this is for from my side today, bacha. I have already told you that there are various batches which are going on. There is a creative corner which is going on, so you can come and join us on Unacademy. For now, I want to conclude this lecture because we have covered, I think, majority of section, almost 100% of the section, where we have talked about not only what are emergency powers, but I have told you in detail that what is the role of president. The president here is someone who is coming to the forefront and declaring the emergency, but at the background it is the cabinet who has to give in writing that that the emergency or national emergency can be declared. Specifically in terms of national emergency, I would say it is the cabinet, okay, who has to come and declare. Abhijit, my next session on YouTube, if you are asking, bacha, I you will get notification, I'm sure. But if you want to join me on plus, you already have my referral code, so you can also subscribe. It's very limited amount and you can get lot of knowledge, and I'm already running 3-4 batches there. Okay. YouTube पे तो कभी कभार होता है और बहुत लिमिटेड होते हैं, so that's the whole point. But if you want to prepare, you can of course join me, right? Manish is also saying okay. Abhijit is saying okay ma'am, so you can note the code AKS11, तुम्हें 10% डिस्काउंट मिल जाएगा अच्छे से. चलो बच्चा, so this is for now. I am hoping to see most of you in my plus courses in creative corners. प्लीज आओ और मेरा कूपन कोड यूज कर लो, तुमसे मिलेंगे, वी कैन डिस्कस, वी कैन मेक श्योर यू ग्रो एंड इवॉल्व एंड जनरेट लॉट ऑफ knowledge, and I hopefully will see you very very soon. Okay, so thanks for joining in. Thank you. Bye bye.